Owning land has been in my family for generations. My farm stretches across nearly 120 acres. Rolling hills, barns, fields, and a small orchard. What it doesn't have, though, is an HOA. At least not legally. But that never stopped Karen. Karen moved into the subdivision that popped up on the edge of my property a few years back. From the moment she arrived, she acted like her neighborhood rules extended to my farm. She hated my tractors, hated the smell of manure, hated my chickens, even complained that my rooster crowed too early in the morning. I brushed it off, until one Saturday, I was out repairing a section of fence when I noticed Karen standing in my field with her phone out. She yelled across the pasture, "You're not allowed to be here. This is HOA managed land now. You're trespassing." I actually laughed. "Karen, this is my farm. I was born here. I pay the taxes. You're standing on my soil." She scoffed. "The HOA board voted last month that this land falls under community use. That means you can't just do whatever you want. I'm calling the cops." I waved her off, thinking she was bluffing. But 20 minutes later, 2 patrol cars rolled up my driveway. The officers looked uncomfortable as they approached. "Sir," one began, "we got a call about a trespasser on HOA managed land." I raised an eyebrow. "Officers, this is my farm. I've got the deed, the tax records, and 30 years of ownership to prove it. Want to see?" They exchanged glances. Karen marched up behind them, screeching, "Don't listen to him. He's lying. This is our land now." I led the officers inside my farmhouse, pulled the deed out of my safe, and laid it on the table. My great-grandfather bought this land in 1928. The HOA didn't even exist until 2015. "You tell me who owns it." One officer nodded slowly. "Looks pretty clear to me. This is your property." I thought that would settle it. But Karen wasn't done. She demanded they arrest me anyway, claiming the HOA had voted to annex my land. The younger officer finally snapped. "Ma'am, an HOA can't annex farmland. This man is the rightful owner. If you keep making false reports, you'll be the one arrested for harassment." Karen's jaw dropped so hard I thought it might hit the floor. She sputtered threats about lawyers, community rights, and illegal farming practices. But the cops had heard enough. They escorted her off my property and warned her not to return without a legitimate reason. I thought that was the end of it until a week later I got a letter. Karen and her HOA had filed a community complaint, demanding I tear down my barn because it ruined the aesthetic view of their neighborhood. That's when I stopped being nice. I called my attorney, who also happens to be my cousin. Together, we drafted a cease and desist letter reminding the HOA that not only did they have zero authority over my farm, but every complaint they filed was legally baseless and constituted harassment. Then I added one more thing. I sent the HOA board an invoice, a very real, legally enforceable invoice, charging them for trespass, legal fees, and damages to my fence where Karen had cut through to inspect her so-called land. The total? $18,742. When Karen saw the bill, she nearly fainted. The HOA board panicked, realizing she dragged them into a lawsuit they couldn't win. Within days, I got a letter back saying the community complaint had been withdrawn. But it didn't stop there. Word spread quickly through the neighborhood that Karen had cost them nearly 20 grand. Homeowners were furious. At the next HOA meeting, she was voted out as president. By the end of the month, she put her house up for sale and slunk out of town. And me? I'm still here, still farming, still walking my fields every morning with my dog by my side. The best part? The HOA hasn't bothered me since. Turns out, when you actually own the land, you get the last laugh. Karen thought she could call the cops and paint me as a trespasser on my own farm. Instead, she got kicked out of her HOA, lost her reputation, and paid me for her nonsense. My land, my rules. End of story.